Well, it's been a really difficult year, at least over the past 12 months, with no live sport, no fans in stadia. The South African Events Council is assisting sporting federations to make submissions to the government on the best way to allow fans back at sporting events during the COVID-19 pandemic. The fans have been prohibited at sports events since the outbreak and the lockdown started last year in the country, seeing empty seats at games. Sporting federations have approached the government to allow a limited number of fans back at stadia with the help of the South African Events Council. And joining us to unpack some of those submissions that sporting federations have put forward is Kevan Jones, the Executive Director. Kevan, thank you so much for your time and for joining us on Newsroom Africa. First things first, what is the SA Council all about? When did it start?
The Event Safety Council is a subsidiary of SACIA. SACIA is a SACWA-recognised professional body, so we've been around for about 10 years. But our Event Safety Council was really established about 5 years ago as an offshoot of the Event Safety Alliance, which is a US-based organisation with affiliate organisations all over the world. And all of these organizations work to promote a safety-first philosophy within the broad events safety or events environment. And that includes sporting events, it involves entertainment and cultural events, business events, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we've been driving this event safety agenda for several years now.
We've seen over the course of lockdown how different industries approach the government at different times. If you look at the alcohol industry, the tobacco industry, you guys do make it slightly easier for all of the sporting federations to lump together, to group together, and then make one presentation to government. When will this be taking place?
So to be honest, we've already made several presentations to government. I know that the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture has been criticised for what various people have defined as a lack of engagement with industry, but certainly in the process that we've been through of developing these event safety guidelines, particularly relating to spectator safety, I have to say that the department has been very open to engaging with us. We work very closely with all of the various sporting bodies within SASCOC. We've also worked closely with other organizations across the business and entertainment community. And so we have presented to government, we've presented to NatJoints, we've presented to NEDLAC. We've had positive feedback from all of them. And we are hopeful that at some stage we will be able to move into a test phase of allowing spectators back to sporting events. But government and we as an association are very concerned about the impact of this third wave that now seems to be kicking off in Gauteng. We've seen what happened at the IPL in India, where crowds became increasingly unruly and increasingly lacking in discipline. And you know, we simply don't want to get into a situation where we have a similar situation in South Africa. Many people talk about this balance between lives and livelihood. And we are the Event Safety Council. Safety is first and foremost what we're trying to do. So we want to bring spectators back to live sporting events, but we don't want to put people at risk in the process of doing so.
I was definitely going to bring up the issue of the third wave that we're anticipating and bracing for. Did that form any part of the submissions that you have made to government, or is this something that you now have to make provision for, a new hurdle that's been thrown in your path?
Well, it is a new hurdle, but it was something that we anticipated. And I think that part of the challenge that we face in South Africa, and you know, a similar challenge to the situation that arose in India, is that the vaccination rollout has been particularly slow. And so, you know, until there's a higher level of vaccination rollout and until we have herd immunity, it's always going to be a difficult situation bringing spectators back into a stadium. And so we need to be slow, we need to be steady, we need to be responsible in the way that we engage with audiences. And we believe that we've put together a proposal that does allow us to bring spectators back, but in a slow and measured fashion.
It's not just about the live events, it's about the live eventing spaces. It's the concert theatres that stand dormant. It's the stadia that don't have feet coming in through the door. The wear and tear on those seems to accelerate, obviously, when they do stand dormant. Is that something that the sporting federations have raised with you as an issue of concern?
So actually what we've been doing is working very closely with the stadia, very closely with theatres and other event spaces. Our own office is inside the Ticket Pro Dome. It's horrifying. Every day I walk into the office, into this giant empty space that just can't be used for events and activities. And so, yes, we and everybody else involved in this process are very aware that there are stadiums and venues all over the country that are sitting vacant, and they're just waiting for spectators to come back and participate in those spaces, support their sporting teams, attend events and exhibitions. The entire industry is in a really difficult situation at the moment, and has been for the last 14 months.
Very briefly, and probably an unfair question, maybe one that's more suited to government, how good are your chances looking?
Until the third wave, we thought our chances were looking pretty good. I think that it's probably a situation where we're going to have to exercise a little more patience, but the recommendations that we've put forward are robust. We believe that we can bring spectators back to sporting events without impacting on the spread of the coronavirus, without putting anybody at risk. And so, yeah, a little bit more patience, but we believe that in the not too distant future, we're going to be able to start getting fans back to live sporting events. It's not going to be big to start off with. It's going to be small. We're going to go through test events. But over a period of time, we will build up and we will be able to return as spectators to live sporting events.
Yeah, that will certainly help allay the fears of the fans. But I have to ask about what the new normal is going to look like. And you are talking about test events. Obviously, it's not just open gates and full stadia. I'm pretty sure you've thought about long and hard about what that new normal looks like and making people feel at ease.
So absolutely. So of course, the basic principles will all apply. Social distancing. So you'll either have to sit in family groups or remote locations where people have limited access to each other. Masks will still have to be worn. There'll be sanitizing stations all over the stadium. Yeah. But in addition, we're introducing a number of additional points that will become part of the new normal. So rapid testing will be an integral part of that process. Before you're allowed access to the venue, you'll have to have a rapid test. If you prove or if you don't prove yourself to be COVID-free, you won't be allowed access to the venue. There's going to be an increased level of training that we make available to the staff working at the stadiums. There will be a requirement for industry certification for individuals working as event safety officers. We need to expand our footprint so that we start looking at safety, not just within the venue, but outside the venue. So that the safety first philosophy has to include, for example, those individuals that are running food kiosks outside the venue. Anywhere where people can congregate is a potential hazard in terms of COVID infection. And so we need to look at each of those touch points and make sure that we address them as part of the safety protocol that individual sporting codes put together.
Unfortunately, we're out of time, but I'm going to throw one quick one at you. I love watching Test cricket at the Bull Ring. I'm always at the Wanderers. It's an entire day. There is alcohol involved. These things do make it difficult to police movement of fans. Cricket is different to football, is different to a live concert, is different to a school concert. How differently do you have to apply this new normal to the different segments of the sporting industry and, of course, the entertainment?
Yeah, you can't just take one brush and paint everybody, with the same brush. Each sporting code will need to apply its own logic to the development of an event safety plan. It'll need to be presented to the South African Police. It'll need to be presented to the City JOC, and it will be specific to each venue and each sporting code. So yeah, it's not one size fits all, but the principles that we're proposing are common to each sporting code.
Kevan, thank you so much for your time. I hope you don't mind us continuously picking your brain as we continue to find a new normal. I really do appreciate you joining us.
That's fine. Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
Cheers. And that's Kevan Jones, who's the Executive Director at the South Africa Events Council. So much still to be done. Hopefully, we'll see test events and some fans back at Stadia fairly soon. But of course, there's that third wave that has everybody fearing what might be. But more news will follow and headlines as well fairly shortly.